Let's practice some more formulas and conditional logic here in Excel 2013. You can download this file from sdrv.ms/1d2 capital T capital J TR. So we see these very powerful people here, each with varying swag points and of differing gender. And our challenge is to fill in some of these blanks here. Let's begin by finding the maximum swag points. I'm going to type in this formula: equals max, returns the largest value in a set of values. We could also choose min, which returns the smallest or minimum number. Let's find the max of, click and drag, these numbers here. Press enter, and we can see that the highest value, the coolest person, is Vladimir. What about the average? I'm going to type in equals average, bracket, click and drag, not this range here, let me press escape, equals average of these numbers here. I want to find the average of the swag points. So the average would be 86.7. Now let's practice using the COUNTIF formula. So I'm going to move my mouse to the cell, click on it. I'm going to type in equals COUNTIF, and the range would be these numbers. I'm interested in counting this range here, comma. The criteria is going to be within double quotes. We'll say greater or equals to 90. If I just want greater, I would get rid of the equal sign. So double quote, greater than, Pac-Man faces to the left, greater than or equals to 90, double quote, and you can have a close bracket there. Press enter. So what's happening here is the number of items, the number of people here who have a swag greater or equal to 90 is 4. There are 4 different people. That's what COUNTIF is about. In the same way, we can even count the number of males. So I'm going to click here, I'm going to type in equals COUNTIF. The range would be the actual genders, male or female. And then I'm going to type in comma. Even though I can't see that cell, I can look up here in the formula bar. And the criteria is going to be within double quotes. It's going to be F. So this is male or female, or M, depending on which gender you want. So right now we're counting the total number of males. So let's just click on capital M, double quote, and close bracket, enter. So it's saying that the number of males is 5. And it's wonderful how if someone gets a sex change from female to male, the number changes accordingly. So let me just change that back to F. Can we actually use formulas to automatically calculate the total females who are getting over, greater or equal to 90? And this is where, if you have multiple criteria, we're going to use plural, COUNTIFs. Equals COUNTIFs with an S, bracket. So we have this COUNTIFs formula, and the criteria range 1 would be, I'm going to look here at the genders. We want female and A+, greater or equal to 90. So I'm just going to click here on the formula bar to continue so I can see it. So the criteria is going to be F, as in female, comma, criteria range 2. We also want another criteria. The second criteria will be dealing with the actual swag points. So I'm going to highlight this. That's the range, comma, the actual criteria is going to be greater or equals to 90. We can also choose less than some amount, but we'll focus on greater than or equals to 90 for now. And of course, if you want to have a third criteria or a fourth criteria, etc., you could do so by separating commas. But this is enough for now. We have females greater or equal to 90, press enter. And according to this, Excel computed that there are 2 females who have extreme swag. And if I manually double check this, it's going to be, the females would be Angela at 97 and Dilma at 90. Vladimir here has lots of swag, but he's a male. So this here is working wonderfully. The logic here is quite similar for SUMIF or SUMIFS or average ifs. So let's just try these. Let's find the sum rather than just counting, the actual sum if they're greater than 90 for swipe points. So I'm going to type in equals sum if bracket. The range would be the swipe points, comma, and the criteria, you can see here it's bolded, is going to be greater or equals to 90. Double quote, enter. And what's happening here is whatever numbers are greater than or equal to 90, it's going to sum them. That's what's happening here. Can we sum if it's a male? Can we add up all the males? I'm going to click in this box here. I'm going to type in equals sum if bracket. The range, we're focusing on males. So I'm going to look at the gender here. I'm going to highlight this gender, comma. The criteria here is going to be M within double quotes. And this is interesting how we're not just highlighting the numbers. We can't really add letters. But this optional parameter here was within the square brackets. The square brackets means it's optional. If we want to sum numbers other than what we're highlighting, we can't really add letters. So I am going to choose this optional thing to sum, which is comma. The sum range would be these numbers. So it's amazing how we can focus on this as the condition, but here these are the numbers we're adding. I'm going to close this bracket, press enter, and see what happens. So it's amazing that based off us having a male, it's going to add the swipe points. That's what's happening with the SUMIFS. What if we want to have multiple criteria? Can we find the total sum of the really cool females only? I'm going to type in equals SUMIFS bracket. We have the sum range, and the sum range here is going to be the numbers we want to add. So it's these numbers here, comma, criteria range 1. So first I want to focus on the females only. So I'm going to highlight this criteria range, gender, comma, criteria 1. The specific criteria I want is females only. So that's going to be double quotes with an F, comma. Criteria range 2 is going to be these swipe points. The swipe points here, comma, has to be the criteria 2 is going to be greater than or equals to 90. Very cool females only. Double quote, comma, and you can see we can go on with additional criteria, but that's good enough for me. I'm going to close that bracket and press enter. And so what we're doing here is we're adding the total swag of all the really cool females only. And you try this yourself with average if and average ifs. So it's great how Excel can count items and sum items based off a certain criteria. In fact, you can have multiple criteria.